All right, welcome to another edition of, well, it's no longer the road to 240. That's already long gone. I guess we can just call this beep test journey. I already have a few videos out on a few of my recent beep tests and a couple workouts that I'm doing in this program that I'm testing out. It's already been probably about 5 minutes since I completed my most recent beep test. And now I'm finishing off with low moderate intensity effort on the for cardio for 20 minutes. um, I mean, the beep test itself, as intense as it is, at least for someone, I'm thinking for someone of my abilities, it's uh, not enough as a workout on its own. So what I have set up in the program I'm testing out is each week, and this is a 6-week long program, each week I'm testing the beep test, but to also make sure I'm still getting additional training effect. Once I'm done with the beep test, I'll finish off with a low to moderate intensity cardio session. Now, whether it be on the Aerodyne like this or Salt Bike, whatever you want to call it, or maybe it's an easy run, maybe you're on an actual bike, a rower, whatever cardio modality you choose, you finish that workout day with 20 to 30 minutes of low to moderate intensity. So what does that look like in terms of heart rate? You're looking at about 60 to 70% of whatever your max heart rate is, but I wouldn't even actually worry too much about that one. I would go more by feel and do what's called a talk test, kind of like what I'm doing right now. If I can hold a conversation all throughout the next 20 minutes here without having to be like after every few words or after every sentence, I'm probably going a bit too hard for the 20 to 30 minutes. Now I'm going just 20 minutes for today because I'm a little more time crunched. If I had a bit more time, I'd probably go up to 30 minutes. I wouldn't worry about doing more than that just because there was the beep test to start things off. And depending on your abilities for the beep test, I mean, that could be anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes to get through. So, whether it takes you 5 minutes to get through the beep test, which would be roughly the equivalent of level 5, maybe level 6, if that's still intense for you, I would still suggest 20 to 30 minutes afterwards. Hell, even 15 minutes if necessary. But again, the cardio workout after the beep test is meant to be low to moderate intensity. So I like to use a talk test to moderate my effort rather than just solely rely on heart rate, because the other thing is heart rate's naturally going to be elevated after going through the beep test. Now, it also depends on how soon you do your cardio after the beep test. In my case, it's about 5 minutes after I finish the beep test. If you need a little bit more time, like maybe you need 10 minutes to recover a bit more before you do the low moderate intensity cardio, or zone 2, if you will. That seems to be the phrase used nowadays for low intensity cardio. Still do about 20 to 30 minutes, but no more than 30, and we'll be fine. Now, so far, I did my third beep test on this program, so I'm in week 3 right now. Started off at 12.5. So last week I got to 12.8. Today was 12.3. And the goal with this program is to see if what I have designed, to see if by the end of 6 weeks I can level up by 2 levels. Now, in my particular case, I think that's actually a long shot. Uh, I'd be happy to get one full level above where I'm currently sitting. So if I'm at 12.8 at my best so far, if I can make it to 13.8, I'd actually be happy with that. To get to 14, that's going to be a tough one. Again, considering my particular situation. But I have a few others who are also testing out this program, and I'm going to be curious to see where they can get to at the end of the 6 weeks. So, yeah, this is all about just testing out this protocol and see what people can get to by the end of 6 weeks. I mean, part of it, in terms of improving, is going to be on the fitness side of things. Part of it is just building that familiarity with the test, understanding how to pace yourself all throughout, little technical things like accelerating out of turns, setting up for your turn at the end. Those are things that will factor into your performance, will factor into your score for the beep test. Fitness is still going to be a large thing, but the other thing, and this is what I think I'm actually going to find for myself, is mentally. I think for me, it's going to be more of a mental game to improve my performance versus a physical or a technical one. Now, in terms of today's performance, I mean, I'm pretty sure I already know why I end up progressing to a lower end at 12.3. Ideally, when retesting for the beep test, ideally I want to have at least 1 day of rest from the previous workout, or possibly more. But just how things are set up for myself this week, schedule wise, I'm basically going back to back with workouts. So I did a 400 meter workout yesterday, 400 meter repeats, and then the day before that, I did beep test intervals. So I got some tired legs, and then on top of that, I'm not getting enough sleep. I always know when I'm not getting enough sleep when I get twitches in one of my eyes. So I'm sure that's factoring into some of today's performance. But I did mention that I think the mental part is going to be one of the bigger aspects for myself. Can I will myself to push it just that extra little bit more when things are hurting? And I don't know, I think today there's a little bit of a letdown on the mental side. I willed myself however way I could. I think I might have stopped myself short a bit too soon. I think I still could have gone to 12.4, possibly 12.5, but I do think trying to get to 12.8 like I did last week was going to be a bit of a long shot. But there's still 3 more attempts to see what I can get to. Yeah, if I can get to level 13.8, that'd be great. 14 would be awesome. But I also got to be realistic too. So now, one of my other videos, I talked about the workouts that I'm doing in this program. This is purely a conditioning workout. There's no strength training component to it. So personally, I actually haven't been doing much in the way of strength training lately. I've been focusing mainly on the conditioning side. So I'm actually kind of curious what it would be like to add a strength training component in addition to all this. But strictly speaking, this is conditioning focused, no strength training involved. So there's 4 workouts: beep test and zone 2 cardio is 1 day. So that's what I'm doing right now. I did my beep test, now I'm doing my zone 2 cardio. Another workout, I simply call it beep test intervals. And then there's a 400 meter repeat workout and a shuttle run workout. Beep test intervals, I've explained in one of the other videos, but I'll still explain it in this one. Basically, what I'm doing is wherever my current level is at, so 12, I'm just using as the basis of 12. I want to go 2 levels above that. So in the beep test intervals, you'll do anywhere from 4 to 6 sets. For me, I've been going at that high end of 6 sets, and each set is done at level 14. But I'm treating it as an interval workout. So start right at level 14. I run that for the first set. As soon as I hear level 15 start, I stop, and then I give myself a 3-minute rest. And I repeat that 6 times. So level 14 is done 6 times, but there's a 3-minute rest in between. That's how I'm essentially setting it up. 400 meter workout, pretty straightforward. There's a track you can go to, run the track, run 1 lap, time yourself, rest for 3 minutes. Your goal is to try to get around the same time. And then the shuttle run, it's kind of like doing the beep test intervals, but instead of going by the beep, you're running for time, or you're running for a set time. So one interval is 1 minute long, and the goal is to get as many laps as possible within that 1 minute. Caveat being that you're not going max effort on every single one. So as an example, let's say you hit 10 laps in the 1 minute, then each set after that is to try to hit around 10 laps, or get a little bit further each set, or at the very least get as close to the 10 laps every single time. Even if you happen to fall short, you try to be as close to 10 laps. So it's more about building consistency from one set to the next. So that's the workout in a nutshell. That's the program in a nutshell. The people that I have on it right now, I'm also coaching them through it as well. And not just in the sense of like, okay, this is what you're going to do. I mean, that is part of it, but it's just helping them figure things out as they go along with the program, right? If, let's say like, oh, I'm feeling this, what can I do? You know, it's like for myself, as an example, the last beep test interval workout I did, I had to make a modification for it. So helping people figure out that aspect as well. It's not just, here's a program, do it, and follow it to a T. It's, here's the program, we'll follow it as much as possible. If we got to deviate a little bit here and there, we'll deviate wherever necessary. So I was just checking my heart rate there, just to see where I'm at. I'm around roughly between 140, 150 beats per minute, which for me, that'd be low intensity. Like I said, I don't go solely based on heart rate, because there's a lot of other factors that can affect your heart rate in a workout. I prefer doing more of a talk test. So if I'm on my own, which frankly a lot of workouts I end up doing is solo, I always like to every once in a while just talk out loud, or if I'm listening to a podcast, I'll just repeat what I hear. A whole paragraph that they might say, I'm just going to repeat it out loud back to myself, just to make sure that I'm not pushing the intensity too high. Because the goal with zone 2 training isn't to push the effort level. It's to maintain a low enough intensity that you're not breaking down the body, but just high enough to stimulate an adaptation in the system. In this particular case, I'm trying to increase my aerobic capacity. Whereas my other workouts that I'm doing with the shuttle runs, the 400-meter intervals, the deep test intervals, I'm trying to increase my aerobic power. Think of it as what I'm doing right now is improving the endurance. The other stuff is improving the stamina. And sometimes people use stamina and endurance, interchange them, but there is a difference between them. You know, and endurance is basically what it sounds like, to just go as long as you can. Stamina is go as long as you can, but at a higher effort level, which means you're putting more power into workouts to improve your stamina, but you're definitely not going to last as long as if you were to go at a lower intensity and just simply go for as long as possible, right? So this is the low intensity, low moderate intensity stuff to build that endurance side, which we need, and then I have the other training to build the stamina, to build that power. You may also want to look at it as improving the threshold, that point where you go beyond your aerobic power, those capabilities, and you start going into anaerobic. And what we want to do is delay that point for as long as possible. If we can increase our aerobic power higher and higher, our threshold higher and higher, then we can also sustain that higher effort level for a longer period of time, that stamina. So, this gets me thinking to some of the advice I hear people are given when it comes to the POPAT test is sometimes people are saying you should train anaerobically. But when you train anaerobically, the thing is when you go into the anaerobic side of things, you're not going to last very long. Now, there are ways to increase that, but or increase your anaerobic capabilities, but still a very finite energy system that you can tap into. Whereas the aerobic system is a much, much larger system that we can rely on. And we can increase our aerobic power, the high-end aerobic capabilities, much more than what we can do with anaerobic. So the goal really when you're doing high-intensity efforts isn't to improve your anaerobic capabilities, it's to improve your aerobic capabilities. And in this sense, your stamina, your power, your threshold, those things are kind of interchange. Aerobic power, stamina, threshold, those are actually very similar to each other. That is the goal of the high intensity workouts, improve that aspect, not the anaerobic side of things. Again, you can still do something to improve anaerobic, I'm not discounting it, but if you can improve the aerobic side more, there's much more potential improving your high-end aerobic capabilities versus your anaerobic. So when you're doing your workouts, when you're doing high intensity training, the goal isn't to just simply go all out and push your effort level and breathe heavy. Anybody can do that. The question is, if you're doing that, are you actually improving from it? Is your performance getting better? In the short term, it can, but in the long term, it's not going to help you. So the goal with high intensity training is to get right to that threshold, maybe a little bit beyond it, but then pull back, recover, then go again. Get right to that threshold, go just beyond it, then pull back, recover. But you're not tapping into it for very long. You're getting right to that point. But never beyond it. At least not all the time. All right. Well, I'm just coming up to the end of the 20 minutes here, so I'll be wrapping up. I'll just see what my heart rate's at. yeah, I'm still between 140 and 150. I'd probably say 145 to 150. So I kept it. Well, I mean, I was talking throughout this whole thing, so I was keeping it low intensity enough. Anyway, if you got any questions about this, feel free to leave a comment below. I'm not always the best at getting to the comments though, so if you want a faster response from me, feel free to email me at marc, at rlconditioning.ca. If you stuck with me up until this point, thank you very much. But until next time, have a good one.